Swamiji, can you talk to us about the three environments of Kripa Yoga?
Lynn, there are three environments in which we exist. The external environment, the physiological environment, and the internal environment. Just to understand this, let us look at the external environment. Right now, the external environment in which I am present is made up of 4 walls, the floor and the ceiling. It is contained in a space of length, breadth and height. There are contents in this external environment, objects. Okay? They are animate and they are inanimate. Animate objects in this environment, external environment, are us, people, human beings, electrical apparatus like the bulbs, the camera, televisions, radios. These are objects that produce change in the external environment. There are also inanimate objects like the chair, like the cushions. These do not have a movement of their own but have to be moved by animate objects. A very clear example of animate objects is plants in a living room. They create change. So, this external environment has been arranged in a way that it can perform a particular function. The parameters of this external environment are the walls and the floor and the ceiling, because that is what determines the dimension in which this external environment is going to exist. So, when we are trying to produce a particular function, if this is going to be a place of meditation, we can't put tables and chairs and have dining room set up over here. We have to clear the space and put cushions in there. Then it becomes a meditation room. If we were to put tables and a tablecloth and utensils and chairs, it would become a restaurant. So, an external environment, in the same way that it produces a function, performs a function, so also the physiological environment performs a function. If I understand the interior design of this external environment, I can produce maximum benefits. The same way, when I understand the function and how this physiological environment operates, I can make it function better. To make it function better, I need to understand what are the components in this physiological environment that are animate and inanimate. And even though we all have bodies, most of us don't realize what the animate and the inanimate is. The lungs, we say they're animate. No, they're not. It's the diaphragm that is animate. The diaphragm animates the lungs. The bones, they are not animate. It's the muscles that animate the bones. The blood, it is not animate. It is the heart that animates the blood. So when we understand these little functions that are taking place and the ones, animate objects and components in the internal environment, in the physiological environment that are creating this change, we are able to make this physiological environment function better. And we can create space within this physiological environment. That is the purpose of meditation. That is the purpose of doing yoga exercises. Because when you do yoga exercises, you are creating this within you. You are creating a space within you. And in that space, you are learning to access the third environment, which is the internal environment. And once you advance in the process of Kripa Yoga, once you advance in your ability to center, to experience meditation, the internal environment will surface. When the internal environment surfaces, you begin to see a whole different dimension. You can see that you're coming from thought which is having an organ called the brain that helps. You can see that you're coming from feelings, which is coming from the region of the heart. You also see that you're coming from desire, which comes from the region of the groin. You notice that there is an internal dimension within you, which is the inner environment, which produces anger, greed, pride, lust, also positively produces joy, pleasure. All these things are happening within you. Once you start accessing this internal environment, you learn to operate in a way where you can produce proper functioning of this internal environment. You will know when the right form of anger should come. You will know when the right form of greed should be present. These are all positive if they are used in the right way. You will learn to access that internal environment. You will learn to observe. And in the same way, we created space over here to have this little recording done about meditation and Kripa Yoga. The same way, we will learn to work on our inner space, create that space in meditation and perform the function of evolving and becoming higher human beings, the function of becoming more spiritual, not in an external dimension, but deep within us. But in order to experience this inner environment, in order to really work on the functions, we have the external environment as an example. If we learn to work well with this external environment, it automatically reflects the inner environment. If we learn to work well with the physiological environment, it reflects on the inner environment. Kripa Yoga doesn't just deal with the yoga studio and its functions. Kripa Yoga doesn't deal with only the physical postures and its functions. Kripa Yoga goes one step further and works on the inner environment in a very subtle, in a very deep, meditative way. We learn to evolve from there. Because when we leave this physiological environment, we won't take anything of the body. When we leave this physiological environment, we will not take anything of this external environment that exists. But the internal environment will come with us. The inner environment will start following us life after life after life until we've cleaned everything up there. And then we can leave and get liberated. A person who can experience the internal environment is called an enlightened being. But a person who has completed his task in the internal environment is called a liberated being. Thank you for asking me the question.
Thank you.